Just don't get hit. It's a phrase that you've probably seen floating around on game message boards, social media, and your friend might have even said it to you while you're being dunked on in a fighting game. But is this real advice? A lot of people will say, well, no, it's meant to be funny and sarcastic. But those people haven't been on the internet long enough. Because truth is, the people who say don't get hit actually mean it. And when they inevitably face backlash for saying, just don't get hit, bro, LOL, they'll backtrack and claim that they were just being ironic. But I know the truth. They know the truth, and you know the truth. So now that we've established that most of the time just don't get hit is given as real advice, we can now determine if it's good advice. And of course it's not good advice. No one can just pick up a game and expect to not get hit and win an Evo or something. Conversely, the only way to learn how to get good at games is to get hit. A lot. Like, oh god, a lot. There's entire genres of games, like the stuff from Software, where the only way to win is to get hit and die over and over and over. Until you eventually pick up on the patterns and are able to beat the boss. Or, if you're like me, a basic enemy. So the better advice would be, get hit! A lot! But something tells me that probably won't catch on. Now, why am I talking about this? Is it because Street Fighter 6 has been out for almost 8 months now and I'm still really bad at it and that makes me salty? No. Or is it because Fighter Z has been out for, let me look at this for a second, 6 years and I'm still bad at that game? No, that's not why I'm bringing this up, though that one does hurt my soul. It's because I was playing Smash Bros with my little cousin, and when he couldn't beat me, I accidentally ended up uttering those words. Look, dude, it's easy, just don't get hit.
Just don't get hit.
When he looked at me with them big ol' eyes, tears running down his face, I knew I messed up. I mean, I didn't let him win, but you know, I still messed up. See, I'm not bad at Smash Bros. Ultimate. I'm actually pretty good. Now, I'm no pro, but I probably wouldn't go 0-2 in a tournament setting. I'm just saying. I've also been playing Smash since the OG came out, so I've been playing this series for a lot of years. And when I was growing up, people would just tell me, just don't get hit, bro. And it would just bother me. To the point where sometimes I would just drop a game for years and years because I would just be too frustrated with my inability to not get hit. And that brings me to the crux of this video, which is that there's a lot of bad advice given surrounding the discourse of video games. Don't get hit is just one example, but another example of bad advice that I can't stand is in regards to games like RPGs, where people go, trust me bro, it gets good like 10 hours in, you just gotta hold out till then. Excuse me? I have to be miserable for 10 hours before I can start to enjoy the game? Why wouldn't I just play a game where I can enjoy playing immediately? Heck, in 10 hours, I could finish a game that I'd probably enjoy from the very first minute. Now, I know some people are gonna say, yeah, but RPGs are like 50 to 100 hours long, so 10 hours isn't that bad. But that's, hold on, one, first, inner, outer, last, 10 to 20% of the game. A game that fits this scenario perfectly is Xenoblade 3. Now, I'm an ex-Xenoblade fan. I think the first game is a masterpiece, and I've played every game except that one in the series, and I was excited to see Xenoblade 3 go back to its roots from Xenoblade 1. But something about the combat didn't click with me, and I looked online and found people saying that it gets better eventually, you just gotta hold out. So I kept playing, but I found that it never got better, so I had to drop it. And if you like it, you know, obviously I'm not trying to tell you it's a bad game. I mean, I wouldn't even know. Like I said, I didn't even get 10 hours into it. I'm a busy guy, you know? So I mean, I couldn't justify spending more time to maybe start enjoying the game. But I'm also not saying that this advice is wrong, per se. Like, I recently played the Resident Evil 4 remake, and I gotta admit, in the beginning, I wasn't really feeling the whole remake thing. But the biggest differentiator between that game and Xenoblade 3 was that RE4 felt pretty good to play from the start, and I ended up loving the remake by the end. I even bought the DLC to squeeze some more game out of it, and I know it's an apples and oranges comparison, and I'm no game designer, but I think there is a way for RPGs to also feel good to play from the start, and then slowly expand upon the mechanics. Like Paper Mario and The Thousand Year Door, or even Super Mario RPG for a few examples. These games place an emphasis on player-first gameplay choices, rather than relying on the sunk cost fallacy to keep you, and me, invested in the game before dropping it. What I mean is, games like Paper Mario, strategy RPGs like Fire Emblem, and even games like Elden Ring have very upfront and fun base mechanics that they rely on and naturally expand upon to keep the player engaged, instead of the opposite approach, which is hiding mechanics that may be more fun towards the middle or even, in some bizarre cases, the very end of the game. So when you hear someone say, "Hey man, don't be a hater, it gets good like 50 hours in, don't worry bro," I'm here to tell you to tell that person that 50 hours is the same amount of time that it would take to theoretically join a gym and then slowly over the course of a few days realize you've made a terrible mistake and immediately cancel your subscription because your anxiety prevents you from going outside or interacting with people. And if that sounds oddly specific and a little personal, it's not about me. Why would you assume that? So, you know what? Be quiet. What are we talking about? Oh yeah, bad advice. Another thing I see parroted around the internet is that you shouldn't waste your time playing games with bad review scores. Now thankfully, this one is even less popular than the don't get hit advice, but especially now, in the internet age, a lot of discussions surrounding games can often get bogged down by the talk of Metacritic scores and gaming reviews. I understand the reasoning. Games with good review scores are often more popular and more mainstream. And of course, if you like something, you obviously want other people to like it, unless you're a contrarian, because you think that's cool. But it's not cool. Don't be a contrarian. But I'm here to let you in on a little secret. Reviews, and especially gaming reviews, are kinda meaningless. Shocker, I know. See, what ends up happening is that gaming sites have this symbiotic relationship with gaming companies where the review sites can get free and early review copies, and can get free merch and even get invited to certain cons, all thanks to these gaming companies. This relationship can often implicitly, or worse, explicitly, pressure gaming sites to not give bad reviews because once they do, suddenly there's no more review copies, no more cool conference visits, and no more merch! So as a reviewer for a gaming site, you often can't be as vocally negative as you might otherwise want to be. And this leads to games getting implicitly, or worse, explicitly, boosted review scores from gaming sites. Okay, so gaming sites can't really be trusted for reviews, so you'll just look at their user reviews, right? Like, that must be what the advice, games with bad reviews should be avoided like the plague, actually means, right? Well, normally, I'd say yeah, but actually, no. See, a lot of games end up getting review bombed for one reason or another, so their user score becomes much lower than it actually should be. The opposite can be true too, where bots and people artificially inflate the score of a game, but I'm not sure if that phenomena has a catchy term. Oh, what a shame that no word exists for such a ubiquitous idea. And I'm not gonna stand here and say that all reviews are worthless either. I mean, I still use reviews to see if I'd like a certain game or not. I'm just saying that maybe read the words of the review and not just the number or letter at the end. Also, let me just take a moment to talk about one of my favorite games of all time, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. The first game I ever 100% completed, and probably the game I have spent the most amount of hours in. And yeah, I said Battle, aka the GameCube one. Don't even judge me on this. I didn't have a Dreamcast. But what I want to talk about is the Metacritic score for this game. It currently sits at a 73 Metacritic score, which is painfully too low, even if the game is kinda janky, but that's not the part that bothers me. What bothers me is the fact that the Dreamcast version has an 89% Metacritic score. Huh? It's the same game! And don't you point those YouTube compilations at me. There's barely any real changes. But somehow it's now more than 10 points worse? Someone explain this to me. Who did this? Was it Nintendo? Are they mad that this game is one of the best-selling GameCube games? That doesn't even make sense! They should be happy about it! I just want to know! Someone explain this to me right now! Sorry you had to see me like that. I just really love this game. Almost hand in hand with review scores are game sales numbers. And people put a lot of energy in worrying about sales numbers. Now, while this isn't inherently advice about games, I thought I'd just stick this in here since I don't think it warrants its own video. Can a good game have bad sales? And can a bad game have good sales? Does it matter either way? Now this one is a little more complicated. The short answer being yes to all three questions, with the long answer being yes. And the actual long answer being yes, yes, and maybe, probably, yeah, probably. It's easy to fall into the mantra that if a game didn't sell well, then it probably wasn't all that good. And the opposite idea persists as well. If a game sold well, then hey, it must be good. But it isn't so black and white. If you want some games that prove the opposite, people were not happy about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet when they came out. Thanks to all the bugs and general lack of polish and even more bugs. But it sold like crazy. While on the opposite side, Neo: The World Ends With You is a great follow-up to the cult classic The World Ends With You, garnering pretty good reviews, but it didn't sell well in the States or overseas. Although I mainly blame Square Enix and their terrible marketing for that one. There are a lot of other examples like these, but these are the ones that I feel pretty strongly about. There are also games that do prove the mantra, such as Breath of the Wild, arguably being the best Zelda game while also being the best-selling Zelda game, at least at the time of this recording. So, I would say that sales don't matter much when it comes to the enjoyment of a game, but sales do matter for a pretty major reason. And that's usually if the companies producing these games will continue to make games in the series. Let's go back to Neo: The World Ends With You. Great game and a great series. But the series is on shaky ground whether or not it will continue, since the second game failed to live up to sales expectations. We could also talk about Pokemon and whether or not Game Freak will continue to rush out games and give the same minimal amount of effort and resources as the previous entries, since the games still sell like crazy. So I kind of understand why people get so invested in a game's sales, since the sales numbers can tell us so much about the future of a series, but I still don't think it's worth discussing more than as in, oh look, this game sold really well, hopefully there'll be more in the series. Or as in, oh, this game sold terribly and now the series and potentially the developers will go out of business and we'll never have another game in the series again and a random company will buy the rights to it and turn it into a weird mobile gacha game. Or something. So yeah, those are some examples of bad advice surrounding video games and even some stuff that's not bad advice but I still want to talk about. Do you have any examples of bad advice surrounding video games? Feel free to share them in the comments, or maybe tell me about your favorite series that sold poorly and is most likely never to get another sequel. If you liked the video, give it a big old thumbs up, and subscribe if you like hearing me talk and want to see more videos, and maybe ring that bell so you'll be the first to know when I upload a new one. Until next time, peace.